I was over here like, hey. Welcome to the Pulse. I'm silly. I'm Keanna Faircloth, host of Afternoon Jazz on WBGO. And I am elated to have nailed down Bass Bay, Endea Owens. She is here in the house. You just saw her, and she was using and continues to use her musical powers for good with her community cookout initiative. We're going to talk about that. Her just being the amazing bassist woman, African American woman she is, as we celebrate during this final installment celebrating Black Music Month here on The Pulse. You're going to find out more about her right now. She's a bassist, she's a composer, she's a member of John Baptiste Band and the house band at the Colbert Show, which I think she's at work right now.
Yes.
Hey, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to The Pulse.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, so you're actually there in the theater right now as we speak, right?
Yes, I'm in my dressing room at the Colbert Show. Yes.
Wow, man. Let's just start there. We see you regularly playing on the Colbert Show. You and John Baptiste. You're on his latest album as
hmm
well. I saw you in the video. How has it been working during a pandemic? It seems like you haven't missed a beat, really.
Yeah, it's been such a blessing, and the ability to still share my gift with people, share the gift of music on such a large platform has been amazing. Just the
Yeah.
fact that I'm constantly learning and I constantly have an outlet. A lot of people didn't have that during the pandemic, so I felt immensely blessed, and it kind of swayed my ideas to what I was going to do next, the things that I started now. So I've had a great time since we've been back at the studio. We've been having a great time. We're actually playing acoustic sets now, instead of
Nice.
being in all of the monitors. We're trying to have like a more human touch to the music to connect to the audience members a little bit more. So it's been very, very beautiful.
Wow, I love it. If you don't know who Miss Owens is, she is a graduate of the Juilliard School of Music. She has mentors in, gosh, I'm sorry, not Matthew Whitaker, Rodney Whitaker, Rodney Whitaker, and so many others. Talk to me about your relationship with Rodney. You're a Detroit native yourself.
Yes, I am.
So tell me about how you came up and even chose the bass in the first place.
Yes. Well, first, speaking about Matt Whitaker, I just recorded with him for his album coming
You
out.
did. That's
Yes, yes.
amazing.
But with Rodney is such a special human being in my life. He always will be. Well, I taught myself bass in high school. I started on violin and piano at first.
Wow.
But then one day I just picked up the bass and I could play all the orchestral parts on the bass by ear. It didn't take me long.
Wow.
So my teacher made me switch to bass because I was actually first violin. Yeah.
Wow, you're
And
talented. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to the Detroit School of Arts.
Okay.
Yep, downtown Detroit. That's also where I met Rodney Whitaker. I was about 15 years old. But before him, I met Marcus Belgrave. He was my first mentor.
Wow.
And we actually shared the same birthday. Me, him, and Jerry Allen. Like we all
Oh
are
my
twin 12.
goodness.
But through him, I met Rodney. And Rodney was the
Happy belated,
first.
by the way. You just had a birthday.
Thank you. Rodney was the first bassist that I ever heard live. And it just hit me so hard that someone from Detroit that grew up just like me had reached that level. That's why representation is so important. I couldn't believe it. I remember at the concert, I was crying on the side of the stage
Wow.
because it just hit me like, this is possible. Like, I see it now. I
Yeah.
can do that too.
So
And from that day, I was like, okay, I'm going to play bass. So I auditioned for Michigan State, and Rodney became my first official bass teacher because I had never had lessons. I only taught myself and I played with my thumb. Like
wait,
this.
so you auditioned for bass never having had a lesson,
Never had a lesson.
and you
Never had a
wow, you
bass
actually got
lesson.
in. That's amazing.
And I got in. Yep. And I always tell people Rodney taught me everything that I know, the foundation of the bass. He switched my technique because I thought bass players played with their thumb. And the rest was history. Yeah, I owe so much to him.
Yeah, wow. Who
Mhm.
else do you consider, mentors or folks that you looked up to or modeled yourself after? There's so many folks just in Detroit alone who've come out of that scene there.
Yes, it's so many. Marcus Belgrave, he gave me my first gig.
Oh,
It
wow.
was I was so excited about this gig, and at the time, since I was so late into jazz, I didn't quite get the gravity of who he was. I was just like, okay, that's Mr. Belgrave, you know. And I remember he was like, okay, I'm gonna put you on this gig because he had been teaching me just like songs like Sugar Ray from Phineas Newborn Jr. and Oscar Pettiford, Paul Chambers, Wilbur Ware. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I could probably play a few scales.
Yeah.
It was a lot, but he always had me play without an amp. So we get to
Mm.
this gig on the east side of Detroit in the middle of the summer. It was intensely hot, and we played for 3 hours nonstop. I think we took one 10-minute break. So I
Wow.
was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get paid.
Well, did you?
He gave me a check for $25, and he was like, "See you on the next one."
Wow.
but I love that because that was like his way of seeing if I truly wanted to be a bassist, a serious musician, and
Yeah.
I had so many rehearsals with him at Youthville in Detroit. He was the program director over there, and that's a program on Woodward Avenue where kids all over from Detroit could just learn how to play jazz, learn how to play
Mm.
classical music, any type of music. It was free, and Marcus even went an extra level and always got us lunch. Like he was just such a kind-hearted soul, and I
Yeah.
learned so much from him. And he would try to play bass sometimes to get me to to get me to get it. Yeah, he took me to the rehearsals. Anything that he could do to help me learn and to meet me where I was at and to get me to relate to it deeply like he did it. That's the same thing that Rodney did. As I've been in New York, Wynton Marsalis has been a great
Mm.
mentor, just
Mm.
teaching me how to be a great writer and a serious musician, like thinking about the next levels of the music. How can my voice be heard in the composing? Like how can I speak with clarity or convey clarity through my bass lines?
Mm.
It's been
Mm.
amazing. Oh, and Marion Hayden from
Yeah,
Detroit
I
as
was
well.
gonna say because you don't see very many women, especially women of color, on the bass. But Marion coming out of Detroit, I was wondering if you
Yeah.
had crossed paths with her at all.
Yeah, Marion is awesome. I remember the first time I saw her and Galen McKinney play together with Straight Ahead.
Yeah.
They did a solo together. It was just bass and drum duo. And I had never seen women play like that
And
at such a
Burn.
high level.
My God.
It just wasn't women playing, but they were killing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's always been a great mentor of mine. Galen, and Marion Hayden, she actually recommended me for my first tour in 2013. I'll never forget. It was March, and it was with Spelman College to be the guest
Oh,
artist.
wow.
Hmm.
Incredible. You talked about Winton. You were one of the Lincoln Center's emerging artists in 2019. You actually wrote a composition for the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra.
Yes,
Let's talk about that.
yes. So so actually, it's funny because I've always I wrote the piece about Ida B. Wells. I feel like she's one of our unsung heroes. Um, but Winton urged me to dig deeper into her story. This was before I even started writing, and to read her biography, like just thoroughly read it and really understand where she was coming from and who she was as a Black woman taking up
Mm-hmm.
space in a time like that, just any time. And I really just wanted to dedicate that whole piece to her, so I created a 4-part suite. I Just
Wow.
Crusade, and the first suite is when she won her settlement against the railroad, and the second part was unfortunately the lynching of her close friends, and the third part was the reaction to it. She created the first anti-lynching organization in the world. She made so many publications, so many articles. She was such an incredible woman. I mean, I wish I could write 1,000 pieces about her. And the fourth segment, which is her homecoming. And for those who have listened to it, the last section was so important because she's finally done so much work, and she worked till her last breath, and she
Mm,
deserved a homecoming. She deserves it every time because
yeah,
she's still inspiring so many people. And
absolutely.
a lot of the things that we have, the NAACP, the anti-lynching organizations, like all of these black groups and societies, organizations, I'm not sure if there would be as many without Ida B. Wells.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that you chose her to compose a piece after, because for me, I think, is the epitome of what it means to navigate male dominated spaces as a Black woman. And I see you and artists like you, young people, African American young women, that are really just doing it in these spaces that are typically, etched out for men. So for you, how has it been, being a woman, most of the time, the only woman in an all male band, and an African American woman? How do you navigate? I know that's a huge question.
Yes. Well, for me now, it's a simple answer. I go to the spaces where I'm appreciated. And when I'm not appreciated in those spaces, if I feel like that, I create my own. I
Hello.
create. I just create.
Hello.
I'm
Yes.
gonna do it. I'll do it. Okay. And I have to thank my mother, my upbringing. My mother was a huge prime example of integrity. She was a teacher. She believed in fairness and justice. All of these things she instilled in me. Rodney and Marcus, like it was never like, oh, I feel like I'm the only one, the only female in the band, the only woman. And they actually treated everyone equally. Like if the boys are getting cussed out, I'm
So
getting cussed out too.
you don't get special treatment. I appreciate that.
Yeah, if they're being hard on the others, they're gonna be hard on me too. Because they wanted everyone to excel and at the same rate. They didn't want anyone being left out. Um, so I mean, when I first really started gigging, um, just because of my stature alone, and just being a woman, let
Mm,
alone a Black woman,
yeah.
in this, I got a lot of comments about me being aggressive, or and I would say nothing, like I
Right.
could be just standing still, or we thought you were gonna beat us up, or even
Really.
like
Wow.
harassing comments. But I had such a strong foundation. I was able to shake it off, and I know what I'm here for. Like I know what my purpose is in this life.
Mm,
That's to touch as many people as I can. That's
yeah.
to touch people with my music, my mission, spread love, spread joy. So whatever is said in the meantime, that doesn't even affect me.
Mm, mm,
I'll just I'll create my own lane, and just like here at the show, I wanted to be in spaces where I was appreciated. This is one of the spaces.
Wow. And that confidence really exudes in the way that you just take up space and you demand, you have such a presence about you that is so inspiring to me. I remember when I first saw you at WBGO, you came up for a studio session. I think you were playing behind Jasmine Horn.
Yes.
And
Wow.
I was just kind of enthralled by, the two of you together.
Mm-hmm.
But I found myself really just kind of honing in to your energy, which is something I think a lot of people are drawn to, especially with your new initiative, Community Cookout. Let's talk about that a little bit, because you've created such a wonderful thing in a time that people really, really, really needed it.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you want to do it in the first place?
Well, I think one of the main things is that I was finally able to do it. So I grew up with programs like this, like me and my mother at a certain time, we depended on programs like this. Like it was just crucial, and I don't really think I would have played bass if it wasn't for the free music program, if it wasn't for the free meals after the youth programs. So last year, especially after Juneteenth, I wanted to do something. So I wanted to do something that I know is familiar, that will really inspire people, really leave people hopeful. So I was like, okay, what brings people out? Food. Okay, we got that. um, what do I do? Okay, I play music. Oh, but I can get other musicians in on this. And I think this can be really big. So after Juneteenth was when I started the first one. And it was actually on the rooftop of my friend's car. I just said the day before, I just want to feed people tomorrow. Let's do it. Let's do 100 meals. And
Really?
I knew I knew a cook that used to cook on Linux, and I asked him the day before. I was like, okay, can you make 100 jerk chicken and rice and peas? He said, I guess. And we did it. But this at the same time, I saw that there were still people waiting in line.
Yeah.
So I decided to do it every month. And after that, it just grew and grew. And I started hiring all types of different musicians. I hire 8 to 10 at a time. I always choose a different restaurant or local chef, just to spread money throughout the communities. I try to pay, well, I do pay the musicians fairly,
Wow.
and we just have a great time. And it's been one of, it's actually one of the things that I'm most proud of in my life. I, I'm just, I just feel like it's blessing me to do this.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it. And I just love to see like what the music does to people. Like in Harlem, a lot of people say, I can't remember the last time I've heard jazz in Harlem,
Isn't
which
that
is
something?
crazy to me.
That is
Harlem,
something
of
else.
all
Right.
places. Yeah, so it's important to keep that going. And it's important for the youth to see that. Oh, okay, yeah, I started playing that instrument, but nobody else was playing it, so I stopped. But
Mhm.
now they're having inspiration to keep going. So I
I
I,
love
I
it.
love that it's happening, and
And your
I,
joy when you're
yeah,
doing it is so infectious. You can see it bouncing off of you and onto other people, which
yes.
is why I want to show the people right now. This is one of your community cookout events in Harlem. Let's see it.
We have a good you and me. We heard each other. One is so sweet. I want the first one. I want to make some
I'm over here dancing. Yes. Who are the musicians you have with you there?
So who you just heard was Leslie Bonner on trumpet, Chris McBride on sax, Josh Evans was also on trumpet, Keith Brown on piano, Norman Edwards on drums, Emily Braden on vocals, Charles Turner was also on vocals in that one.
Wow. How many people do you get a chance to count the amount of people that flow through community cookout?
Every now and then I do, but we try to, well, now we try to feed at least 150 to 200 people. So that day was definitely 150 plus.
Wow. So
Uh,
you went through all the food.
oh, down to the coconut cake.
Wow.
Yes, it was gone.
So what's on the menu? Because you got dessert too. Like
I look, I believe in
wow.
quality.
I
Yes,
love it.
so I when I feed people, I want them to have a restaurant quality food. I don't want them to have like bland sandwiches or just
Right.
like a water. What I mean, anything is good, but I want them to feel like, okay, I'm dining out and I'm listening to some nice music. Like
Yeah.
have a moment of normalcy. So that restaurant, I got the catering from Amy Ruth. So we had chicken, fish, beef,
Wow.
rice, salad, steamed veggies, mac and cheese, banana pudding, peach cobbler, coconut cake, water, sodas. Yeah, we have the whole thing. Oh, and we also provide masks, hand sanitizers, everything. Now and then we even provide cash for those who really
Wow.
need it. Yeah.
How how can we support you? Because how not to get into your business, but how are you doing this? Is this coming out of your pocket? My God.
About 90% has been out of pocket.
Wow. Well, what
Yeah.
can we do? What can we do to help support you? Because this is really much needed and it has to go on. What can we do?
Well, my website is now up. It's thecommunitycookout.com. On there, you'll find a place to donate. If you want a quicker option, you can donate to my personal Venmo or PayPal or Cash App under the name Endea Owens. It's all the same, and that'll go straight to fund the musicians and the food.
Wow, you have such a huge heart, man.
Thank you.
Wow, you are a blessing. Seriously. This is incredible. This is really
Thank you.
incredible. You're actually going to be featured again here on WBGO on Jazz Night in America. I'm excited to announce that that's going to happen actually this Friday,
Yes.
July 2nd. It's July already. Oh my God. At 11 p.m. And then it'll re-air on Saturday, the 3rd at 6 p.m. So be sure to check her out there on Jazz Night in America as well. I'm just really excited I was able to get you for this final installment celebrating Black Music Month here on
Yes.
the Pulse. I know that you have so much you got to go and do, but before you go, I know you have something that you're working on. I don't
Yes.
know how much you want to share with us about that, but I heard through the grapevine somebody is working on an album. Not going to
Yes.
say where I heard it from, but
My album has finally been recorded. It's in the process of mixing and mastering, and I'm actually releasing it kind of different. So I'm gonna do single by single with a video to accompany each song. So that'll be out probably in the next few weeks. Because I finished recording this past May. And on top of that, I'm also composing for Paris Fashion Week.
oh
Um,
my gosh.
yes,
Congratulations. Wow.
thank you. That's happening July 8th. I'm composing for the fashion designer Mas and
Oh,
his collection, and with the artist 22 G's from Atlantic Records. And It'll be on the Madam C.J. Walker Estate in New York, live stream for the Paris Fashion Week. So that's the next big thing, great thing happening.
And then we can see you regularly on the Colbert Show on top of all of that.
As well as tonight.
Tell John I said hello. I haven't had a chance to meet him yet. But what is that like, by the way, working with John Baptiste? He's now an Oscar Award winner, which is incredible.
Yeah, I have to start saying Oscar Award winning John Baptiste when I talk to him. Like I'm so happy for him, and I'm so proud to know him and just be around him. I mean, it's like being around a walking legend. But on stage, what I like about John is the first conversation I had with him, we just spoke about life and music and our morals of life and our ideas of life. And I really appreciated that because that's something that you don't get as much. But on stage, it's like an adventure every time. Sometimes when you're on tour, you play the same thing in the same way. But with John, it's always different. It's always something that I didn't hear yesterday that I'm hearing today. And in a new way. And now we're just expanding the world. Like it's just the music world on stage. And just the whole vibrations of the music. I feel it in my soul. It's just amazing. It's such a learning experience every day, and I'm so thankful. Thank you, John.
Yes.
I have to say that.
He seems so down to earth. He really does.
Yeah, he's great. He's really great, and for him, it just seems like what he knows, his knowledge, and just his way of music and all of that is accessible. It's not something that's closed off. It's accessible for everyone. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, indeed. Well, before I let you go, I do want to play one last video clip of a community cookout performance of In a Mellow Tone, which I thought was absolutely gorgeous. Can you introduce this for us? Who's with you on this one?
Yes, this was In a Mellow Tone in Harlem, Charles Turner on vocals, Emily Braden, Norman Edwards, Leslie Viner, Chris McBride, Josh Evans, and myself.
Here it is.
Feeling fancy free, and I'm not alone. I've got company. Just go your way and laugh and play. There is joy unknown in the mellow tone. A mellow tone, feeling fancy free, and I'm not alone. I've got company. Everything's okay the live long day with this mellow song. I can't go wrong. Oh, mellow song, feeling fancy free, and I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I've got company. Just go your way and laugh and play. There is joy unknown in a mellow tone. Mellow Whatever you say, got to
Oh my goodness. It just feels like such a good time.
Yes.
My
yes.
goodness. And for such a worthy cause. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just happy to be able to do it and provide a platform for folks like you. Is why I do it. People just like you. So thank you so much for being here. If you don't know who she is, Endea Owens, she's performed with the likes of Dee Dee Bridgewater, God, Jasmine Horn, Wynton Marsalis, Rhonda Ross. The list goes on, and she's only skyrocketing. So you better get in on the ground floor right now because she's only heading to the top. We can't wait to continue to follow your journey. She's going to be on Jazz Night in America again this Friday, 11 p.m. on WBGO, and also that'll rebroadcast on Saturday at 6 p.m. on July 3rd. So thank you so much. Tell us before I let you go where we can keep up with you, your website. Tell us once again, social media handles, all that good stuff.
Yes, my personal website is endeaowens.com for the community cookout. Thecommunitycookout.com. Instagram is Endea the Bass Bay. Facebook, Endea Owens.
And I can't wait for the album. You don't have a date set just yet. Can you tell us exactly when, or should we just stay tuned?
Stay tuned.
Okay, got it. Well, Endea, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And break a leg tonight. We'll be watching the Colbert Show.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for celebrating Black Music Month with me here on The Pulse. Be sure to keep up with all things The Pulse and everything related to it by going online to wbgo.org/The Pulse. And I'll see you on the radio Monday through Friday for afternoon jazz from 4 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on WBGO. I'm Keanna Faircloth. Have a great night.